let's get to some serious stuff. So we're going to be talking about Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa officially becomes strongest storm in the world this year, made landfall in Jamaica.
This morning, Hurricane Melissa on the cusp of slamming into West Jamaica. The monster Category 5, the strongest storm to ever hit the nation, bringing life-threatening winds up to 175 miles per hour, up to 40 inches of rain, and up to 13 feet of storm surge. At least 3 already killed during storm preps on the island. Sparks flying out of damaged power lines, residents hunkering down. Some American tourists trapped after all major airlines shut down, including Charleston, South Carolina resident Zykalin Coley.
It's very nerve-wracking being stranded on an island. You don't know anybody.
Jonesboro, Arkansas residents Maritza Caver Blake and her husband were on the island celebrating their 10-year anniversary, now unable to get home to their 4- and 8-year-old kids.
We've been praying a lot. They were expecting their parents back on Sunday. We don't want to tell them Mommy and Daddy is stuck in another country.
Air Force hurricane hunters trying to fly into the eye of the storm, capturing this stunning video. The eye wall nearly vertical.
That's insane.
The turbulence so severe, they were forced to turn back. Now, authorities are begging everyone to stay indoors until this storm passes. All of the cleanup and rescue efforts are only going to begin once it's safe. Until then, Melissa is expected to have Jamaica in its grip for much of today. Robin?
All right. South Florida residents who are stuck in Jamaica right now.
And Local 10's Leah Morjon is at Miami International Airport as people were riding out the storm on the island nation. I know you've talked to a few people who say they were being, in their words, battered.
Yeah, sure. And I've spoken to folks who are not only travelers who were visiting Jamaica and are now stuck there, but also a woman who's riding out the storm in her vacation home with her family. She lives there. She used to be from here in South Florida, moved to Jamaica and has lived there full time for a few years now. But she says that they're really feeling the effects. And we'll get to that in just a second. But I want to show you why some folks happen to be stuck right now. And that's because of cancellations that are coming out of Montego Bay specifically. Kingston isn't getting it as bad, according to our meteorologist.
An interesting perspective on this hurricane. The
I
difference
was looking at
between the locals and the
updates to
tourists.
see how Jamaica's doing during like the hurricanes going on down there. And to my surprise, which really I shouldn't be surprised, I seen a whole bunch of Jamaican folks just having a great time. It's a dude like right on the shore getting blasted by ocean water, talking about some bomba clot, and he's giggling his ass off. And then there's some other local folks playing.
Okay, but it's still not the smart thing to do, I think.
On his table while there's water up to their hips damn near. And then another shorty just shaking ass. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's great. And I was having a great time until I seen like American tourists.
It's still dangerous for the record.
There. And
by the way, we've seen that. Florida. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. This is just another classic example that people are people everywhere. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. Florida. Okay. You see the Jamaican locals exhibiting the exact same tendencies that the local Floridians exhibit right before a catastrophic climate change baked event takes place.
It just drives home the fact that like how entitled some folks are and how ignorant people are. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like they're making like light of the situation and talk about, oh, it's a category 5. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's cool when the local people do it because they live there and that's a way for them to deal with like the fact that their islands are getting flooded. You know what I mean? But like when it's these tourists that are coming in and being so disrespectful and not caring for real, it's fucking weird, bro. It really just shows that there's so many people out there that lack empathy and will make fun of anybody in any kind of situation. Which like I'm a jokey ass person, you know what I'm saying? But I know when to hold my tongue. I know when to hold my jokes back.
Watch the video of a
gone
meteorologist
for
finding
about,
out live
10
how
minutes
catastrophic
here.
this is going to be.
And? 180. What's the pressure?
Pressure, this is Air Force flying into that.
Yeah, this is Adam Berg. He's giving me this
Pressure
information.
is now down to 896.
Oh, my Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, I'm going to hold it together here. So 896 millibars is stronger than Hurricane Milton when it made that run last year. Remember my viral moment last year? 50 millibars in 10 hours, right? It got down to 897 millibars. Now it turns out Melissa has broken or gone past Milton's wreck. So there's only one hurricane. There's only one hurricane in October and November in the Atlantic Basin that's ever been stronger. And that is Hurricane Wilma from 20 years ago. And by the way, Wilma was on dates earlier than the present date. Today's the 28th of October. So again, Melissa is the strongest hurricane so late in a hurricane season. So again, this is all history. It's all bad news, especially for Jamaica. And I'll have a lot more to talk about some of what's driving this, what's producing these catastrophic hurricanes, because, by the way, this is the fourth major hurricane so far this year. 3 of the 4 major hurricanes have reached Category 4 and 5 status. 3 of the 4 or 4 of the 5? Anyway, a very large number. I think only...
Not good.
So we've seen flights delayed coming to and from that city, but Montego Bay, though, that one is a problem. You can see their flights have been canceled since yesterday. And one woman I spoke to from Houston says she's riding out the storm.
One of the biggest problems when hurricanes like this make landfall in Puerto Rico or Jamaica or other Caribbean islands, Caribbean nations, is that the infrastructure is not as robust to withstand such a powerful force of nature. Cuba is another example as well. Because the reality is that America, for all of its issues, for all of its failures, still has at least a competent response, usually. That's changing as well. We're privatizing FEMA. You already know. Having said that, however, there is at least a somewhat stronger infrastructure, even if our infrastructure is still dog shit, somewhat stronger infrastructure than these other places that are much poorer. Also, when you're on an island, you don't really have a lot of places to go to other than higher elevation. People like the Jamaican population exists at the intersection of so many different forms of capitalist erosion, whether it be their government services and their infrastructure expenditure being destroyed by IMF initiatives that demand austerity and substitute what should be controlled by the government with private ownership, foreign capital in many instances that don't actually care to create the competent response necessary or to create the strong infrastructure necessary to survive these sorts of things because they have no care or consideration for the people. And a big part of the reason why these extreme once-in-a-lifetime weather events take place with regular frequency now is also because of the first world and its endless consumption. Our carbon footprint.
In a hotel.
It's so disheartening because I feel like we had so much time to get out.
It was supposed to be a fun girls' trip for a group of friends out of Houston. But now that flights out of Montego Bay have been canceled, they can't come home, at least not yet.
It's actually getting really bad now compared to how it was earlier.
Deborah Shields showing us the view from her window at the Grand Palladium Resort in Lucy, about 24 miles west of Montego Bay. Shields and her friends now experiencing Hurricane Melissa from their hotel rooms.
It sounds like, you know, how people, when they tell ghost stories and they're like, woo, it's a lot of that. And the door sounds like somebody's trying to break through it. I don't know if you could even hear it banging. It sounds like somebody's like grabbing a handle and trying to force their way in the door, but it's really just the wind.
As visitors hunker down, residents are too.
Decided to leave because we were hearing storm surges, you know, close to 10 feet. And so we figured it was better to be in higher ground.
Former South Florida resident Sherry Monroe lives in Freeport, Montego Bay, but evacuated with family to higher ground in Great River, Hanover.
Close to where my home is in Freeport, Montego Bay. That's also where my boats are docked. So I'm most worried about my house, but also worried about my boats, and my captains are actually on the boat riding out the storm.
The flapping awning behind her still holding on around 11 a.m. Eastern. By 1 p.m., she says it was gone and water was dripping from her ceiling. So I was able to check in with Sherry just a couple of minutes ago. She says things are still getting worse. Her home that she's riding out the storm in has lost some windows. She says, quote, everywhere is leaking, but she says she's also heard from friends who did ride out the storm in Montego Bay, and that some of those folks have actually lost the roofs to their homes. She says that this is extremely devastating and that she's getting emotional just thinking about how much damage this would cause. And of course, she says that there are some loved ones at this point that she can't even get a hold of. In fact, the only reason that she's able to communicate with us is because she's got a generator and one of those Starlink satellites. Reporting live at MIA, Leanne Morejon.
Back here in the United States, the largest labor union of
Video from Montego Bay. Watch a gazebo collapse as conditions worsen in Montego Bay, Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa made landfall's Category 5 storm about 36 miles south of New Hope on Tuesday. Wait, why'd you say hashtag ad? Can I give you my update, please? Okay. Go ahead, Stinky 19. It's time for the Stinky 19 weather report. Before we move on to the other man-made devastation caused by American Congress against the American working class, because they're waging a war as well. All right, Stinky, give it to me. Stinky 19. Didn't know Stinky was international. I'm sorry, chat. I'm on mobile, says Stinky. Stink it up. Yeah. You got to say, now we go to Stinky 19 for some crucial updates on Hurricane Melissa and how we got here. Stinky 19 is on mobile, so there is a significant delay. Melissa made landfall in southwestern Jamaica near New Hope at around 1 p.m. EDT as an extremely powerful Category 5 hurricane with max winds of 185 miles per hour and minimum pressure of 892 millibars. Okay. This is what 185 mile per hour winds sound like. And what it looks like. Catastrophic and life-threatening winds, flash flooding, and storm surge are occurring on the island. Audio files just exploded. As of 6 p.m. EDT, Melissa is a Cat 4 with a maximum wind speed of 145 miles per hour with a minimum pressure of 921 millibars. It is weakened because it is now over land and no longer being fueled by water. Melissa is 10 miles east of Montego Bay, Jamaica, and is moving across the island at 8 miles per hour. 7 p.m. update incoming. We'll update when I have it. Thank you. Looks like the very rough ride was confirmed. Plane had to leave early. They reported SVR turb and a sawtooth eye. Looks like they moved 600, 700 feet up and down during the stretch in 1 minute, but they captured some historic data, including a 893 millibar center drop. Mission for the ages.